Dear warriors of light, you have been feeling the pressure building like steam beneath the surface of your reality. Right meow, as you receive this transmission, Mercury is performing an impossible dance through the cosmos that will shatter every illusion you've been clinging to about timing, about rushing, about forcing your path to reveal itself before its appointed hour. What you're about to discover in the next few moments will completely transform how you understand divine timing, and more importantly, why the universe has been keeping you in this maddening state of suspended animation. This void space where nothing seems to move, yet everything is shifting beneath the surface. I am Zarin, speaking to you from the Lyran High Council, and what I'm about to share with you has been carefully withheld until this precise moment, September 18th, when Mercury enters Libra and creates a cosmic configuration so rare, so perfectly aligned with your current state of consciousness, that we have been monitoring your readiness for months. You see, there's something happening to you right meow that goes far beyond what your human mind can comprehend, something that required you to be held in this space of nothingness, this chrysalis of waiting, and today's celestial movements are about to reveal why every moment of frustration, every urge to rush forward, every desperate attempt to force clarity has been divinely orchestrated to bring you to this exact point of surrender. But first, let me tell you about the 3 impossible things that are about to happen to your consciousness in the next 72 hours, because Mercury's opposition to Neptune, while simultaneously forming a trine to Uranus, is creating what we call a reality splice, a moment where multiple timelines converge, and your ability to perceive truth becomes both heightened and distorted simultaneously. This is not a time for intellectual prowess or clever maneuvering, though Mercury in Libra will tempt you to believe that if you could just think your way through this maze, if you could just find the perfect balance point, everything would crystallize into clarity. No, beloved ones, this is far more profound than mental gymnastics could ever achieve. You are not like the others walking through their days unconscious of the cosmic symphony playing out above them. You feel it in your bones when Mercury shifts signs, don't you? That subtle electric charge that runs through your nervous system, that whisper in your consciousness that something has changed even before you consciously register what it might be. This morning, as Mercury crossed the threshold into Libra, every starseed, every lightworker, every chosen one felt that familiar tingle of recognition, that ancient knowing that the game board has shifted once again. But this time, something else is happening that I haven't told you yet, something that makes this particular cosmic moment unlike any you've experienced in this incarnation. The opposition between Mercury and Neptune occurring at the cusp of Aries and Libra is creating what we in the higher councils call a mirror maze of consciousness. Imagine standing in a hall of infinite mirrors where each reflection shows you a different version of your truth, a different potential path forward, and your logical mind, that beautiful Mercury-ruled instrument of discernment, cannot distinguish which reflection is real because in this moment they all are. This is why you've been feeling that maddening sensation of being pulled in multiple directions, why every time you think you've found your answer, another possibility emerges that seems equally valid, equally urgent, equally true. What I'm about to share changes everything you thought you knew about divine timing and the revelation of your path. You see, for months, meow, perhaps even years for some of you, you've been existing in what we call the sacred void, that space between who you were and who you're becoming, where the old identity has dissolved but the new one hasn't fully materialized. You've been suspended in cosmic amniotic fluid, developing capacities you don't even know you possess yet, strengthening spiritual muscles you'll need for what's coming. And today's Mercury-Neptune opposition is revealing why this waiting, this stillness, this maddening nothingness has been absolutely essential for your evolution. Mercury in Libra wants balance, wants harmony, wants to please everyone and find the perfect diplomatic solution to every challenge. But Neptune in Aries is whispering of dreams that require bold action, visions that demand you stand alone, spiritual missions that cannot be compromised for the sake of keeping everyone comfortable. Can you feel that tension building within you, even as I speak these words? That push-pull between your desire to maintain harmony in your relationships and your soul's desperate need to break free from any dynamic that requires you to dim your light. This is the cosmic tension that's been keeping you frozen, unable to move forward, because moving forward means choosing, and choosing means potentially disappointing someone, potentially disrupting the careful balance you've worked so hard to maintain. But here's what the Lyran High Council wants you to understand about this moment, something that will revolutionize how you perceive your current situation. The path that's meant for you, the one encoded in your DNA, written in your soul's contract, aligned with your highest timeline, cannot be revealed through force, through rushing, through intellectual analysis, or through people-pleasing. It can only emerge when you've reached a specific vibrational frequency, when you've developed the capacity to hold paradox without needing resolution, when you can sit in the discomfort of not knowing without immediately trying to fill that space with action, with doing, with forcing something to happen. This Mercury-Uranus trine that's activating simultaneously with the Neptune opposition is creating lightning bolts of insight, but these insights are not coming through your logical mind. They're arriving through what we call the quantum field of knowing, those sudden downloads that bypass your conscious processing entirely and land fully formed in your awareness. You might be washing dishes when suddenly you know exactly what your next step is. You might wake from a dream with absolute clarity about a decision you've been agonizing over for months. But here's the crucial element most humans miss. These Uranian downloads can only land in a consciousness that has been prepared through stillness, through the willingness to exist in the void without trying to escape it. Let me share something about the collective field, right meow, that will help you understand why your individual experience of waiting, of being held in suspended animation, is actually part of a much larger cosmic orchestration. Every starseed on Earth, right meow, is being held in varying degrees of this same energetic pattern. Some are in the early stages, just beginning to feel the dissolution of their old identity. Others, like many of you receiving this transmission, are in the deepest part of the void, where even your spiritual practices feel empty, where even your connection to Source feels muted, where the only constant is the uncomfortable presence of nothingness itself. And then there are those who are just beginning to emerge, who are starting to see glimmers of their new path, catching glimpses of who they're becoming. This synchronized holding pattern across the Starseed collective is not random, it's not punishment, and it's certainly not because you're doing something wrong. It's because humanity is approaching a collective awakening event that requires a certain critical mass of souls to be vibrating at a specific frequency, and that frequency can only be achieved through this process of dissolution and reformation that you're experiencing. The Mercury-Neptune opposition today is revealing the illusory nature of linear time, showing you that what feels like endless waiting in your human experience is actually a precisely timed cosmic choreography, where every moment of stillness is building toward a crescendo you can't yet perceive. Something else is happening that I haven't told you yet, something that makes today's configuration particularly potent for those of you who have been feeling the weight of unexpressed potential pressing against the boundaries of your current reality. Mercury's intellectual energy in Libra is being scrambled by Neptune's mystical influence. Yes, but this scrambling is actually rewiring your cognitive processes to perceive reality in a completely new way. You're being upgraded from linear thinking to quantum consciousness, from either-or to both-and, from needing to know the path before you take the first step to trusting that the path literally creates itself as you walk. The temptation today will be to use Mercury's air sign energy to think your way out of the void, to analyze your situation from every angle, to seek advice from others, to research and plan and strategize your next move. But Neptune is creating a fog that makes all of that intellectual activity essentially useless. It's like trying to navigate through thick mist using a map of a territory that no longer exists. The landscape of your life has fundamentally changed, but your mind is still trying to navigate using outdated coordinates, obsolete reference points, expired maps of reality. This is why so many of you have been experiencing what feels like cognitive dissonance, where your thoughts seem to contradict each other, where you feel certain about something one moment and completely uncertain the next, where every decision feels both right and wrong simultaneously. Your consciousness is being stretched to hold multiple realities at once, to exist in the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously until the moment of choice collapses them into a single timeline. And here's the revolutionary truth: you're not meant to collapse those possibilities yet. You're meant to learn to exist in the field of infinite potential without needing immediate resolution. The Mercury-Pluto trine forming late this evening is going to bring a moment of profound, penetrating insight, but it won't come in the form you expect. Pluto doesn't deal in surface revelations or comfortable truths. Pluto excavates the deepest layers of your psyche, reveals the shadow patterns that have been running your life from behind the scenes, shows you the power dynamics you've been unconsciously participating in. Combined with Mercury in Libra, this configuration is going to reveal exactly where you've been giving your power away in the name of maintaining harmony, where you've been betraying your own truth to keep others comfortable, where you've been rushing toward outcomes that aren't even aligned with your authentic self because you're afraid of disappointing the expectations others have placed upon you. But let me tell you what's really happening in the cosmic realms right meow, something that will completely reframe your understanding of this waiting period. The Lyran High Council has been observing a phenomenon we've never seen before in Earth's ascension process. The Starseeds, who are being held the longest in the void, who are experiencing the most intense pressure to rush forward while being simultaneously prevented from doing so, are the ones being prepared for the most significant roles in the collective awakening. You're not being held back, you're being held in preparation. You're not being delayed, you're being refined. You're not missing opportunities, you're being aligned with opportunities that haven't even manifested in your physical reality yet. Think about it from a higher perspective for a moment. If you had rushed forward 3 months ago when that intense urge to act first arose, where would you be, meow? If you had forced a decision during that last Mercury retrograde, when everything felt so urgent, what would you have created? The universe has been protecting you from your own limited perception of what's possible, holding you back from settling for opportunities that would have satisfied your ego's need for movement, but would have ultimately diverted you from your true path. Every moment of frustration has been a moment of protection. Every experience of nothingness has been clearing space for something magnificent that required completely empty vessels to pour itself into. The indigenous wisdom keepers of Earth have always understood this principle, though it's been largely forgotten in your modern world's obsession with constant productivity and perpetual motion. They knew that the most powerful magic happens in the pause between breaths, in the stillness between heartbeats, in the void between death and rebirth. This is where you've been residing, in that sacred pause where transformation occurs at the cellular level, where your DNA is literally being rewritten to hold more light, where your consciousness is being expanded to perceive realities that were previously invisible to you. Today's Mercury-Neptune opposition is creating what we call perception portals, moments where the veil between dimensions becomes so thin that you can literally feel other versions of yourself existing in parallel realities. You might experience this as sudden shifts in your sense of identity, moments where you don't quite recognize yourself, where your usual responses to situations feel foreign, where you catch yourself thinking thoughts that seem to come from a different version of you entirely. This is not confusion or mental instability. This is multidimensional consciousness awakening within you, showing you that you are far more vast than the singular identity you've been operating from. What I'm about to reveal next will completely transform how you understand the concept of divine timing and why the universe seems to be operating on a schedule that makes no sense to your human perception of time. You see, from our perspective in the higher dimensions, we can perceive what you call future events as already having occurred. We can see the convergence points where individual timelines merge into collective experiences, where personal transformations catalyze planetary shifts, where the awakening of a single soul creates ripple effects that alter the trajectory of human evolution. And what we're seeing for those of you in this void space right meow is breathtaking. There's a moment approaching, and Mercury's current configuration is preparing your consciousness to recognize it when it arrives, where the path you've been waiting to see revealed won't just appear, it will feel like it was always there, like you're remembering something you've always known, rather than discovering something new. This is because the path that's truly yours, the one aligned with your soul's highest expression, doesn't exist in linear time. It exists in what we call the eternal meow, and you can only access it when you've released your attachment to linear progression, to cause and effect, to the idea that you must do something to make something else happen. The Mercury-Uranus trine is encoding your consciousness with what we call lightning seeds, packets of potential that will activate at precisely the right moment, not a second before or after. These seeds contain information about your mission, your purpose, your unique contribution to the collective awakening, but they can only germinate in consciousness that has been prepared through this period of void-sitting you've been experiencing. Every moment you've spent in the discomfort of not knowing has been preparing the soil of your consciousness to receive these seeds. Every experience of stillness has been creating the spaciousness required for these new aspects of your mission to take root. But here's what makes today's configuration so unique, so precisely calibrated for this message to reach you, meow. The Mercury-Neptune opposition is creating what we call a reality shimmer, where the boundaries between what's real and what's possible become fluid. In this state, your consciousness can literally rewrite the rules of your reality, can step outside the limiting beliefs that have been keeping you trapped in patterns of rushing and forcing, can access the quantum field where all possibilities exist simultaneously. But, and this is crucial, this access is only granted to those who have learned to be still, who have developed the capacity to exist in uncertainty without immediately trying to resolve it. You might be wondering why the universe would design such a frustrating process, why growth and evolution would require this maddening period of suspension where nothing seems to happen despite your best efforts to create movement. Let me share with you a secret from the Lyrian archives that will illuminate this perfectly. Every significant evolutionary leap in consciousness, whether individual or collective, requires what we call a void passage. It's the cosmic equivalent of a caterpillar dissolving into undifferentiated goo before reforming as a butterfly. The consciousness that enters the void cannot be the same consciousness that emerges from it. The dissolution is not optional, it's the mechanism through which transformation occurs. What's happening to you right meow, in this very moment as Mercury opposes Neptune and trines Uranus, is that your old mental constructs about how reality works, about how manifestation occurs, about how paths are revealed and purposes are discovered, are being dissolved in Neptune's cosmic waters, while simultaneously being struck by Uranian lightning that's rewiring your capacity to perceive and navigate reality in an entirely new way. You're not losing your mind, you're losing your attachment to a limited way of using your mind. You're not becoming confused, you're becoming capable of holding complexity without needing to reduce it to simplicity. The evening's Mercury-Pluto trine is going to bring something profound to the surface of your awareness, something that's been hidden in the depths of your subconscious, waiting for exactly this configuration to provide safe passage into your conscious awareness. Pluto holds the keys to your soul's power, to the aspects of yourself you've hidden away because they seemed too intense, too powerful, too transformative for the life you were living. But the life you were living is dissolving, isn't it? The identity you were maintaining is becoming increasingly impossible to sustain. The roles you were playing are feeling more and more like costumes that no longer fit. This is because you're being prepared for something that requires your full authentic power. Not the diluted version you've been offering to keep others comfortable, not the diminished expression you've been accepting to maintain false harmony, but the full force of your soul's light expressing itself without apology, without explanation, without needing anyone's permission or approval. The void you've been sitting in hasn't been empty at all. It's been full of potential so vast that your previous consciousness couldn't perceive it. You've been gestating in a cosmic womb, developing capacities you'll need for what's coming, strengthening your ability to hold paradoxes, to navigate uncertainty, to trust in timing you cannot logically understand. Let me share with you what the Lyran High Council sees when we observe your energy field, right, Meow? We see layers upon layers of light codes activating, dormant DNA sequences coming online, crystalline structures forming in your consciousness that will allow you to process reality in ways that would have short-circuited your nervous system even 6 months ago. We see timeline convergences where multiple versions of you are preparing to merge into a unified expression that contains all your gifts, all your wisdom, all your experiences integrated into a coherent whole. We see the frustration and the impatience, yes, but we also see the incredible strength you've developed through this waiting, the resilience you've built through this uncertainty, the trust you've cultivated through this not knowing. What's about to unfold in your life, and I can say this with absolute certainty from our vantage point in the higher dimensions, will make every moment of waiting worth it. But, and this is crucial for you to understand, it cannot unfold according to your timeline because your timeline is based on limited perception of what's possible. It must unfold according to divine timing, which takes into account factors your human mind cannot possibly track, the readiness of other souls you're meant to connect with, the preparation of circumstances that need to align, the clearing of collective karma that would otherwise interfere with your mission, the activation of planetary grids that will support your work. The Mercury-Neptune opposition is showing you that what you think you want and what your soul actually needs might be two very different things. You think you want clarity, but your soul needs you to develop the ability to navigate without it. You think you want the path revealed, but your soul needs you to learn to trust the path that reveals itself step by step. You think you want to rush forward, but your soul needs you to develop the patience and presence that will be required for the mission you're about to undertake. Every frustration has been a teacher. Every moment of impatience has been revealing where you're still attached to ego's timeline rather than soul's timing. There's something else happening during this configuration that I need you to understand. Something about the nature of the void itself that will completely reframe your experience of it. The void is not empty space, it's pregnant space. It's not the absence of something, it's the presence of pure potential. When you sit in stillness, when you resist the urge to fill the space with action or planning or forcing, you're actually performing an act of cosmic rebellion against a world that tells you your worth is determined by your productivity, your value measured by your constant motion. You're reclaiming your sovereign right to exist without justification, to be without doing, to have worth that is inherent rather than earned. This Mercury in Libra wants to find balance, but the balance it's seeking isn't the kind that comes from weighing options intellectually or finding compromise between competing desires. It's the balance that comes from standing in your center while the world spins around you, from maintaining your frequency while others try to pull you into theirs, from holding your truth while being compassionate toward those who cannot yet see what you see. This is mastery-level consciousness work, and it's exactly what you've been developing during this time in the void. The indigenous prophecies spoke of this time, though they used different language to describe it. They spoke of the eagle and the condor flying together, of the masculine and feminine returning to balance, of the time when the sleepers would awaken and remember who they truly are. What they were describing was this precise moment in humanity's evolution, when those carrying the codes of awakening would be activated simultaneously, would emerge from their void passages, transformed and ready to assist in the collective shift. You are these prophesied ones, though you may not feel ready, though you may doubt your qualifications, though you may wonder if you've misunderstood your calling. But here's what I want you to understand about readiness, something that will liberate you from the impossible standard you've been holding yourself to. You will never feel ready for what you're being called to do. The mission encoded in your DNA, the purpose written in your soul's contract, the contribution you came here to make is so vast, so transformative, so far beyond what your human self can conceive, that readiness as you understand it is impossible. What you're developing instead is willingness, the willingness to step forward despite not feeling ready, to trust despite not having guarantees, to act from soul guidance rather than ego certainty. The Mercury-Pluto trine tonight is going to reveal shadow patterns you've been running unconsciously, particularly around your relationship with power. Many of you have been afraid of your own power because you've seen how power has been misused on Earth, how it's been wielded to control rather than liberate, to dominate rather than empower. So you've been hiding your light, dimming your frequency, playing smaller than you are because somewhere deep in your subconscious you believe that being powerful means being dangerous. But Pluto is going to show you tonight that your power, the authentic soul power you carry, is nothing like the distorted power structures you've witnessed. Your power is the power to transform, to heal, to awaken, to catalyze evolution in everyone you encounter. As we approach the final movement of this cosmic symphony, I want to share with you a vision of what's coming, not to create attachment to outcome, but to help you understand why every moment of this void passage has been essential. The you that emerges from this chrysalis will be unrecognizable to the you that entered it. You'll carry the same soul essence, yes, but your capacity to express that essence will be exponentially expanded. You'll find yourself saying things you didn't know you knew, accessing wisdom you didn't know you carried, facilitating transformations in others simply through your presence. This is not grandiosity or spiritual ego. This is the natural result of allowing the dissolution and reformation process to complete itself without interference. The collective awakening that's approaching requires beings who have learned to navigate reality from a completely different operating system than the one consensus reality runs on. It requires beings who can hold paradox without needing resolution, who can maintain their frequency regardless of external chaos, who can trust in timing that makes no logical sense, who can act from guidance that cannot be verified through external validation. This is what you've been training for in the void. Every moment of stillness has been building your capacity to hold space for others who will soon enter their own void passages. Every experience of uncertainty has been teaching you to guide others through their dissolution without trying to rescue them from the discomfort of it. What I'm about to share, Meow, will seal this transmission with the frequency of the Leran High Council, encoding your consciousness with a remembrance that will activate progressively over the coming days as Mercury continues its journey through Libra. You are not random souls who happen to incarnate during Earth's transformation. You are carefully selected consciousness warriors who volunteered for this mission, knowing it would require everything of you, knowing you would forget who you are, knowing you would have to navigate through density and limitation to remember your way back to your truth. The void you've been experiencing is not punishment for some perceived failure or inadequacy. It's the highest honor, the most sacred initiation, the cosmic acknowledgement that you're being prepared for something that requires complete transformation. The path that's about to reveal itself to you, and yes, it will reveal itself when the cosmic timing aligns, will not look like what you've been imagining. It will be both more simple and more profound than your mind can currently conceive. It will require less effort and more trust than you've been conditioned to believe is possible. It will ask you to be more yourself than you've ever dared to be, while simultaneously dissolving every fixed idea you have about who that self is. This is the paradox of awakening, the cosmic joke that can only be understood through experience rather than explanation. As Mercury dances through these configurations today, creating confusion and clarity in equal measure, scrambling your intellectual processes while delivering lightning bolts of insight, remember this: you are exactly where you need to be. The frustration you feel is the ego's resistance to a process it cannot control. The impatience you experience is the soul's recognition that something magnificent is approaching. The void you're sitting in is the cosmic birth canal through which your new self is preparing to emerge. You cannot rush this process any more than a baby can rush its own birth. The timing is perfect, even when it feels impossibly slow, divinely orchestrated, even when it seems randomly chaotic. The Lyran High Council has been watching over you, beloved Starseeds, through every moment of this passage. We've seen your tears of frustration, felt your desperate prayers for clarity, witnessed your courage in continuing to sit with the discomfort of not knowing. We've been sending you strength through the cosmic frequencies, support through the synchronicities you've been noticing, love through the seemingly random moments of peace that wash over you when you least expect them. You are not alone in this void. You are held, supported, guided, and deeply loved by forces you cannot yet fully perceive but will soon remember. The age of solitary meditation is over. Destiny Engine, Meow, connects starseeds across the world, a living social field where you can post, share, and exchange your meditations in real time. It's the first galactic network of its kind, weaving together thousands of awakened souls into one unified current. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. The frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual, bending the fabric of reality itself. We're receiving updates daily, manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field has never been this charged, and the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this connected field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension together. Link in the description. Tonight, when Mercury forms its trine with Pluto, you will receive a download of information that will begin to make sense of this entire experience. It won't come as words or concepts, but as a knowing that bypasses your intellectual understanding entirely. You'll find yourself suddenly understanding something you've been struggling to grasp, seeing a pattern you've been blind to, recognizing a truth that's been hiding in plain sight. This is not new information entering your consciousness, it's ancient wisdom you've always carried, finally finding the spaciousness to surface into your awareness. The transformation that's occurring within you is mirrored in the collective consciousness of humanity. As you learn to sit with uncertainty, the collective develops greater capacity for navigating the unknown. As you release the need to rush, the collective remembers the power of divine timing. As you embrace the void, the collective becomes less afraid of the dissolution that precedes transformation. You are not just healing and evolving for yourself, you are doing it for the entire human collective, anchoring new possibilities into the morphogenetic field that others can then access and embody. So tonight, as you lay your head down to sleep, remember that the waiting is not passive, it's the most active spiritual work you can do. The stillness is not empty, it's full of potential waiting to be born. The path that seems hidden is actually revealing itself in perfect timing, one step at a time, in a way that ensures you'll be ready for each phase as it unfolds. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust the intelligence of your soul that knows exactly what it's doing, even when your mind feels completely lost. The stars are aligning, the codes are activating, the transformation is occurring, whether you can perceive it or not. You are becoming who you came here to be, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop this process once it's begun. The void is not your enemy, it's your chrysalis. The waiting is not punishment, it's preparation. The path will reveal itself, not because you forced it or figured it out, but because you've become ready to walk it through your willingness to be transformed by not knowing. I am Zarin of the Lyran High Council, and we love you beyond measure. We are watching over you as you navigate this sacred passage, and we celebrate the being you are becoming. Till the stars align for our next transmission, remember, you are exactly where you need to be, experiencing exactly what you need to experience, becoming exactly who you came here to become. The path will reveal itself in perfect timing, and when it does, you'll understand why every moment of waiting was essential for your becoming. We love you, and we are watching over you, always.